Oh, what's up fellow nerds? I'm your host Dr. McKay and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a breakdown of the Ori Mothership seen in Stargate SG-1. For starters, I will be giving a brief history of the ship and then move on to the full ship breakdown of the specifications. But before we get started, if you like the content, please like, comment and subscribe to help support the channel out. And with all that said though, let's go. So for the history of the ship, let's quickly cover the Ori themselves. So the Ori were once the same people as the Alterans, or better known as the Lanteans or Ancients. However, a long time ago in their home galaxy, the peoples divided over a difference in ideology as the Ancients began to devote themselves to science and the understanding of the universe, whereas the Ori became increasingly religious. This division eventually became so great that the Ori attempted to destroy the Ancients. So to avoid a war, the Ancients left their planet and galaxy and wandered the stars to eventually settle the Milky Way galaxy, leaving the Ori behind. At some point during the million years after their separation, the Ori discovered ascension and shed their physical forms and became immortal energy beings that inhabit a higher plane of existence. They soon discovered that if the lower beings worshipped them, they would become more powerful, so they set out to populate their galaxy with humans and created the religion of origin, a religion for one purpose only, the purpose to sap the life energy from the lower planes to feed the power given to the ascended Ori. To manage and control the lower beings, the Ori created the Priors with special powers to work on their behest, with the chief prior, the Docile, being the main mouthpiece of the Ori and a vessel for the Ori to directly communicate with the lower planes. The Ori seek more and more followers, and so upon discovering that there was an entire galaxy of humans out there ready to be converted to Origin to provide even more power to them, the Ori commanded the Docile to create a holy army to fight all that embrace evil, and in the name of the gods, ships shall be built to carry their warriors out amongst the stars. Well, here's the speech for you. So upon that declaration, a holy crusade to convert the Milky Way galaxy began, with the sending of priors through the Stargate to begin spreading origin. And while this was happening, the ships for the crusade began their construction. Now, it's unclear on how these ships were built so fast by a medieval level of culture, but I expect the priors did the magic stuff and possibly the Ori had a more direct hand in the ship's creation. But however they were built, they are advanced, possibly the most advanced ships ever seen in Stargate. So in 2006, after the Ori built the second Supergate, the Ori sent through 4 Ori motherships to begin their holy crusade. The ensuing battle saw the 4 Ori ships defeat 2 Tauri 304s, an Asgard O'Neill class ship, and a fleet of 10 or more Huttucks with ease. Their next stop would be Chulak, and then the rest of the galaxy. Each of these ships are so advanced than anything else in the Milky Way galaxy that no one could stand up to them, and it seemed hopeless to fight them until the Asgard gave the Tauri their legacy and equipped the Odyssey with Asgard plasma beam weapons, which became the only weapon known to disable the Ori Mothership's shields and destroy the ship. Later, after the Ascended Ori were eliminated from existence and the Ark of Truth set everyone free from Origin, it left these very advanced ships in the hands of the followers, and nothing is known of what happened to the ships after these events. So with the history covered, let's go over the ship's specifications, starting off with the size. Like always, let's start with the size of the ship. Well, these large white oval shaped ships with a large ring central structure has 2 online sizes. The first, in my opinion, is incorrect, so here it is. The length stated online is 1,100 meters long with a width of 850 meters. There is no height given for the Ori Mothership, but this size is way too small, so the other size, which I think is correct, comes in at 2,400 meters long with a width of 1,500 meters wide. Still no height given. This size makes more sense due to the fact that the second Supergate is around 1,600 meters wide, so it matches the shot of the Ori Mothership coming through the Supergate. This larger size also fits nicely to on-screen scaling with other ships. Here are some images to show you both sizes so you can choose for yourselves which size you prefer. So with the size out the way, let's talk engines. So for the engines of the Ori Mothership, we have three types. The first are atmospheric engines that allow the ship to defy gravity and hover and land without any external thrusters. Next up are the sublight engines. The engines are located at the rear of the ship, provide the ship with great speed and maneuverability in space for the ship of its size. The last engine is the hyperdrive. This drive is of the intergalactic kind, which allows the ship to cover great distances in very short times. It's comparable to the Odyssey's hyperdrive with a ZPM on board, making it one of the fastest ships in Stargate. Up next, let's talk shields. So for the shields, the Ori Mothership has possibly the strongest shields besides Atlantis seen in the show, being able to withstand numerous attacks from many angles from different ships and weapon types. The shields are of a white energy field that form a solid bubble around the ship. The shields can even withstand a Huttuk mothership crashing directly into it. As strong as the shield is, there are 4 weaknesses seen in the show. First one is the Asgard plasma beam weapons, which require a dozen or so shots to deplete the shield and destroy the ship. Next up is the ancient drones. As stated in the alternate reality, the Ori attacked Earth and Earth drove them off with the ancient drone weapons, but it's unclear if any of the ships were destroyed as it was never stated. Up next is the unstable vortex of a forming wormhole of the Supergate. This cut through the ship like butter, but it's unclear if the shields were up or just not effective at all against the vortex. And lastly, the final weakness is when the Ori Mothership fires its primary weapon. There's a small fluctuation within the shield that it is possible to ring transport through the shield at this particular moment, which we see with Daniel Jackson in the show. Other than that, the shield is one of the strongest shields ever seen in the show. Up next, let's talk about power. The power supply of the Ori Mothership is generated from a large advanced reactor core housed in a large room. This generator is powered by or harnesses 0-point energy, just like what a ZPM does. This power supply powers the whole ship, including weapons and shields. This use of 0-point energy is the reason behind the shield strength and the power of the main weapons, which brings us to the weapons. So on to the weapons now. The Ori Mothership has 2 weapons types. The first is the very powerful primary laser weapon. This laser is fired from a large dish on the front of the ship. This laser functions by storing a large amount of energy in a buffer and then releases that energy in the form of a high energy laser beam that has continuous damage for the length of the beam. This laser can destroy a gold Huttuk with one shot and can drain up to 50% of a BC-304 shields with a single shot. It's unclear, but it can also overwhelm an Asgard O'Neill shield too, but this was not shown on screen. The primary laser requires a slight cooldown between shots, but not much, as it can fire in a rapid sequence, making this weapon one of the most powerful weapons ever seen in Stargate. The secondary weapons the Ori Mothership has are several pulse cannons that are placed around the ship. This allows for complete coverage of the ship. Although not as powerful as the main laser, these pulse cannons can quickly overwhelm a Huttuk and destroy it with only a few shots. Other forms of weapons the Ori Mothership has are a large complement of around 500 small fighters, which provide support to the mothership and ground forces. Next, let's talk about the controls and the sensors. So for the controls of the Ori Mothership, the ship can only be piloted by a prior of the Ori, as the ship uses a type of neural interface control chair for ship controls. Now, with some understanding, it is possible to fly the ship somewhat by using the ship's computer, but it requires innate knowledge of the ship's systems. Not much is known of the technical specifications of the ship, but this ship possesses advanced sensors for long-range scanning and planet scanning, with them being so advanced that they can detect the energy of the Asgard core on the Odyssey, even through hyperspace. The ship systems were mainly controlled via the prior using their superhuman powers, and thus not much is really known or shown in the show. Other ship systems are the transport rings, which are almost identical to the ancient and the gold transporter rings, with the only difference being the design of them being white in colour with writing or engravings all over them. The fighters can also deploy Ori ring platforms to a planet's surface via a mobile platform. Up next, we'll talk about the crew and compartments. So for the last part of this breakdown, let's cover the crew and the internal compartments of the ship. Starting off with the crew. So for the crew, each mothership has at least one prior for ship control, but possibly contains many more priors for spreading origin to planets on their crusade. The rest of the crew is divided up into soldiers, family of the soldiers, and other personnel for supporting roles for the converting of planets, numbering in thousands of crew. So with the crew covered, let's talk about the compartments. So for the compartments, we have the bridge, which holds the prior's control chair, along with a large computer console. Next, we have the reactor room. This is a large room with a central core around 5 meters high, with a single gangway for access. Other rooms we see are Vala's quarters, which I assume most crew have, with some being smaller or like barracks. We also see a ring room and many corridors, but that's about it on screen, but one can assume the ship has armories, hangar bays, mess halls, toilets, places of worship, and many cargo holds, as it is a spaceship after all. So to wrap up the ship, let's just summarize what we know. The ship is one of, if not the most powerful and advanced ships to be shown in Stargate. It's definitely on par with, say, an ancient warship. Its design is clearly representative of Ori symbols, and the power of its shields and weapons make it a formidable vessel to fight. This ship still remains a mystery in so many ways, from its construction to its functions, and I think the mystery makes this ship even more deadly. If only we knew what the former followers of the Ori did with the ships after the Ark of Truth. Like, did they go back to their home galaxy, or is it still lurking around in the Milky Way? Well, there you go, my fellow nerds. That's all I want to cover on the Ori Mothership in this breakdown. I hope I have covered everything you wanted to know, and if you wanted to know more, please leave a comment and I'll try and fill you in if I have the answers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, comment and subscribe for more. Your support is greatly appreciated. I have been your host, Dr. McKay. Thank you all for watching this breakdown, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Cheers and goodbye, and have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.